Okay, so the title really says it all. If you don't know what pulp is, old school comic books from way back in the day, back before the Comics Code, Hays Code took effect, and made it to where horror stories weren't in comics anymore, romance stories weren't in comics anymore, stuff like that, where it became more kid friendly, everything else. And then also, pulp goes back to the cheap magazines and cheap books. The books are still probably going today, as far as I know they are. Um, Pulp romance novels were a thing for a very, very long time, but it's basically kind of over the top stories, sensational stories. And they don't have to be long. You can do short ones. The magazines would have three, five stories, however many, from all different authors in each one. You know what I'm saying? So that is what it is. You want to write an action story, go for it. You want to write a crime story, go for it. A western, by all means. Sci-fi, yeah. Horror, yeah. Anything like that. Anything you can make sensational. You know what I mean? It's really that easy. So you don't need to be a good writer or anything else. If you know Conan the Barbarian, those were pulp stories. The Cthulhu stories were pulp stories. These were available in magazines, stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You don't need to write the next great novel or whatever from whatever country you're from. Chances are you aren't going to anyway. You may as well at least have some fun with it. And everyone's like, well, what about subtext, this and that? It's going to be there no matter what. Every story has some kind of message. You don't have to plan the message out before you start. The message will come out through the story anyway. If you have the message before the story, it's going to be heavy handed at best. So that is what it is. Right? And that's just the facts of the matter. So you can write pulp. It doesn't need to be, you know, whatever is trendy or whatever at this second, because that doesn't matter. And if you think you don't know what pulp is, if you've ever seen film noir, that black and white crime movie stuff from the 1940s, well, guess what? A lot of that comes from pulp. It's the darker, grittier crime stories. Yeah, that's pulp all day long. The femme fatale thing, that's that all day long. Westerns, especially violent ones, stuff like that. Pulp. Crime stories. Pulp stories again. Horror. Pulp stories again. Investigation. All that. Pulp stories. You know, people like to say that they don't like pulp, but pulp inspired so many of the things that people like. And Samurai Champloo, that's kind of a pulp story. Pulp fiction, yeah, that partially is. But you can even say that Reservoir Dogs is a pulp story, in my opinion. So you don't need to do the craziest stuff ever or whatever. You can just write. You don't need to have a lot of experience to do it. Pulp writers wrote fast. Why did they write fast? Because they weren't getting a lot for each individual story. So, you know, especially back in the 1940s and all that, when the books were like 10 cents a piece. You get what I'm saying? So, you don't have to try to write like Chuck Palahniuk or anyone else. Just write like yourself. A lot of times, if you're writing fast, you're writing like you're talking anyway. And that's what people are always trying to do, is write like they talk. Well, if you don't give yourself time to formulate every word perfectly and do perfect word choice and try to get perfect word flow, chances are you're going to end up just typing or writing like you talk. Because what other option do you have? You have nothing else to fall back on. But that's just an idea, right? What do I know? I've wrote some pulp stuff before. I'm starting a pulp magazine, so if you want to write, just email me. The email is going to be in the description. The magazine's going to be for free online. I will read your stuff as long as it's not racist or anything like that. I'll give you full credit. I'll put you in the magazine. Either way, I'll get back in touch with you. We can talk and all that. And if for some reason at any point we decide mutually that we're going to try to make money through it or whatever else, well, guess what? I'll give you whatever we agree upon, and if it's per copy or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But there are options, and you don't have to do what everyone else does. There you go.